StudyIQ IAS, अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।
Jai Hind aspirants, as you all are aware about, the civil services mains results are out, and now it's the last leg of preparations. Those who have got a call for interview, personality test may not carry the highest weightage in your civil services examinations, but in the contemporary circumstances where we are seeing that the scores of mains are constantly falling, personality test remains the most important part to not only decide whether you get into Holy PDF or not, but at the same time, even if you get into Holy PDF, where exactly your rank stands is completely today, to a very larger and greater extent, is determined by your personality test. If you look into the definition of interview, interview is normally defined as a guided conversation between two or more people. If you know this very basic of interview, okay, what exactly is the meaning of interview, what exactly is the purpose of an interview, you will understand this, that if this purpose is very clear to you, your approach towards interview completely changes, your orientation towards interview completely changes. Since it's a guided conversation between two or more people, the guided conversation on one hand means that there will be certain interviewers who will largely be guiding these conversations. But this is not the end. This is only the half picture. On the other hand, the person, that is the interviewee, that is you, who are giving the civil services interview, at the same time remains very important part of this mechanism, as even you have the capacity to guide your interview. But this capacity largely depends upon how well you are prepared for your civil services interview. With respect to this, at StudyIQ, we have started an interview or a personality test guiding sessions. In these sessions, although there are multiple organizations which have started personality guidance sessions or maybe interview guiding sessions, but how are we different? How are we actually going to contribute towards your personality test? Rather than first, speaking about what exactly this program is, I would like to highlight you the characteristics of these programs which are very much required for you to crack this examination, and especially this stage, this leg of your preparation that is called as interview. किस तरीके से हम हेल्प करेंगे इसके अंदर, यहां पे मैं एग्जैक्टली आपको प्रूव कर दूंगा आज. इफ यू लुक इनटू इंटरव्यू, किसी भी इंटरव्यू के अंदर, एंड द फर्स्ट थिंग, द रजिस्ट्रेशन स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम 21st of this December. The Google link for the registration is available in the first comment, or it has been tagged or pinned to this very video. You can go to the comment section, you can directly register yourself there. And once you register, you will get an update about your timings, about your interviews, and various other things which are required for you to know. The first step for any interview is the strategy formation. This is where majority of the aspirants actually make a mistake. When I was appearing for my civil services interviews, I just actually felt that there were certain mistakes which I made in my first, second, or third interview, which I did not make in my fourth interview. If you look into the strategy formations, the civil services aspirants focus on making a strategy as far as their prelims and mains are concerned. Prelims and mains are two parts where you are actually very much aggressively making a strategy in order to crack these examinations, whether it is the stage of prelims or whether it is the stage of mains examination. But as far as interview is concerned or personality test is concerned, majority of the people largely go for rote learning, getting an awareness about current affairs. They not even get awareness about current affairs. They are more emphasizing on reading and studying current affairs as they were doing in their mains examinations. Try to understand the mains examinations and the prelims coupled when compared to the personality test is way different. In personality test, you need to have a much more stronger strategy in order to largely make your interview a grand success, an epic, literally an epic success. You require a constant nudging or constant creation of your strategy. If you look into how to make a strategy for civil services interview and what's the importance of this, understand, as far as your mains examinations is concerned, it's a descriptive form of examination where you write your answers and where the examiners or the test correctors or the paper correctors at the best know what you have written here. So it's much more easy to largely present those things which are more socially accepted. As your answer or your answer sheet is a speaking document there. But as far as the interview is concerned, you yourself is going to be your speaking document. There is a possibility that you might largely give the answers which are looking much more garnished, or which are looking much more, accomplished and acceptable in nature. But somehow your expressions, somehow your body language, somehow your presentation of your answers, there are places where your true nature of personalities is bound to appear, or is bound to reflect to these the people who are taking the interview. So until unless you have a clear-cut strategy that how your personality should be modeled, and how your presentations, the speaking skills, the body language, the clothing patterns, every aspect has to be top-notch perfect. Because the chances of getting struck, or chances of largely disclosing those things which should not be disclosed, as you are here to crack this examination and get the respective desired post of yours, here the strategy plays a very major role. But many times हम नहीं frame करते हैं strategy यहाँ पे. तो please ensure this, that the importance of strategy is more as far as the civil services interview is concerned when compared to the mains or prelims, or if not more, at least not less when compared to prelims and mains is concerned. In this StudyIQ interview guidance program or personality test program, we are not only going to guide you towards what could be the possible questions which could appear because of your DAF, because of your background, because of your education qualifications, or maybe because of your name or your places where you appear or come from. We'll also emphasize on how to frame a strategy so that you can take your interview to the level which you want it to be taken, rather than being completely constantly guided by the interviewers. You would largely here develop the capacity to guide your own interview, and those people who have guided their own interviews have got flamboyant marks. They have come out with flying colors if you have the right strategy. So the first important thing which we are going to do here StudyIQ is that strategy which is required for you to crack the civil services examination would be decoded to you personally, individually, with the mentors, with the bureaucrats which we have at our prestigious organizations. The second thing is interactions with the bureaucrat. So this is not something which is only StudyIQ is offering. There is something almost all the organizations are doing that. Almost all the panelists largely belongs to bureaucracies. But at StudyIQ, if you see, we no doubt have the bureaucrats, the top-notch bureaucrats, the young IAS and IPS officers, which you can see the panel of ours from the which is present at our StudyIQ website or app. But the difference here is that beside the selected bureaucrats, we also have a constantly motivated team which is motivated to such an extent that they are more than desiring to help you out in your interview process. In a strategy, when you see, strategy is something which can be defined as a plan which is framed in order to largely make a particular project successful. When you talk about strategy formation, at StudyIQ what we do is, we largely make you understand that the right strategy, any right strategy in this world, whether it is of Apple's, whether it is of Google's, or whether it is of StudyIQ's, or whether it is your own strategy as far as interview is concerned, you have two things. You have to always keep two things in mind. First thing which you have to keep in mind is that what are the basis of improvements? What are the things which I largely should do in order to crack the civil services interviews? At the same time, only focusing on what is the right thing is an incomplete strategy according to my personal opinion. Strategy would become complete when you also know that what are the weaknesses which you have in your personality or in your DAF or in your preparations which could largely mar your interview. At StudyIQ, in that strategy formation, the first leg where we'll make you interact one-to-one and also through mock interviews is with the selected bureaucrats, retired bureaucrats, and the young IAS and IPS and other bureaucrats, so that you get the insider view of what exactly is expected from you. Coupled with this, at the same time, there would be a team which would be guiding you, who have appeared for interviews 2, 3, 4 attempts, and they are highly motivated towards you achieving that goal. This would help you where? Because many times, for example, I appeared for civil services interview 4 times. I know there are certain loopholes which are bound to present in anybody's personalities. I made certain mistakes, and those mistakes can help you that, okay, please keep this point in mind. Please ensure this if this thing happens. All those circumstances which we have faced in our interviews, we would like to decode it to you so that thing which you may be getting trapped is also known to you. So the bureaucrats would help you to know what exactly is the personality expectation of an insider, and the other part of the team would help you to understand there are certain weaknesses which you should avoid, which you should try not to present it to the examiner. So this is what again makes our team much more different when compared to the other organizations. And when I say this, believe me, I mean this, that here the guidance will not be of the bureaucrats only, rather than the team which is highly motivated for your success would also help you to know the weak things which should be avoided, the weak circumstances which could be created in your interview, so that you can make a complete strategy. Coming to this, in StudyIQ, we are not going to merely focus on the mocks. Mocks are always an important part. Why? Because when you enter into a circumstances, when you go to a formal interview, there are many times where you largely may feel uncomfortable by wearing a tie. So when you start wearing a tie over a period of time, which I used to do in my mock interviews, which I used to do before my interviews, I used to wear a tie because it used to make me feel awkward. So I used to practice that often. This mock is something like a practice which will make you gel up to that formal environment which would be there. But beside mocks, there are other things which are required in the interview processes. And those things are that how to largely give those right expressions. Many times, as we often say, that the picture speaks more than the words. In similar fashion, as far as the interview exercise is concerned, irrespective of the place where you're giving this interview, whether it is UPSC or whether it's a MNC, you will find one thing very clearly, that expressions are the most important part of interview. Because understand, the UPSC interviews are unstructured interviews. Unstructured interviews, the aim behind the unstructured interview is this, to largely understand your hidden realities, that is your expression. They are more interested in your body language and expressions, and they are less interested in your knowledge which you are largely giving. Because the knowledge has been tested, and that's the reason you are sitting there, because your knowledge is top notch. Now this expression, how to give the right expressions, how to largely ensure this. For example, when I gave my civil services interview, believe me, this was sheer out of passion. It was not planned as such. In the first interview, I was so excited, and that excitement could be seen on my face. And the interview board asked me, Mr. Divakar, you're looking very excited. Divakar Botra, you're looking very excited. What's the reason behind this? And I clearly gave an answer that, sir, this was my dream. Anybody who is appearing for their first interview in their first attempt, they are very much excited because what they wanted, they are actually sitting there. Because all of you know it very well. When you are preparing for civil services, the first interview is something that which we largely imagine. We do not imagine us to be an IAS and IPS officer. What we first imagine is to crack, to at least get to that interview stage. And this is what your expression is. And the board was actually delighted because that showed my passion. So at StudyIQ interview cycles or processes, when you enter into this, we'll also tell you what right expressions kya hai. What are those expressions which help you to develop a positive mindset, to develop a positive attitude about your personality with the respective interviewers or with the respective board. But beside expressions, there are many things. I think this is the most important part where we are different. Because majority of the organizations are actually conducting the interviews, the mock interviews, what we so call. But beyond mock interviews, what we often see is the most important skill which you should have as far as to crack the interview is concerned is the spontaneous answer saying capacities. Most of the time we follow the crowd. What exactly is the meaning here of crowd? We see that normal general prescriptions has been created in this society, that whenever you are giving an answer, you should pause a bit. Even if you know an answer, you should pause a bit. It's okay. Fine. Pausing here does not mean a purposeful pausing. Pausing is largely, when we say it means pause, it means that have patience and present your answers patiently. Now the point here is, spontaneous answers are something which you should learn from the first day, from the second you start seeing this video. Why? Because spontaneous answers actually give you the best impression as far as the board is concerned. I'm not saying this. You can read you can see the interview where many of the UPSC board members have clearly said that this was this spontaneous answer which he gave, which was full of humor, which was full of practicality, which indicated his presence of mind, impressed me, and I did not ask any further questions. If this is so important, imagine if somebody gives you a very spontaneous answer and which is different, how well you are getting impressed. The similar situation happens with the interviewers in those circumstances as well. So try to understand, those spontaneous answers are really going to make a very crucial impact on it. For an example, if I have to take here, many times a very general question could be answered in a very pragmatic manner, because majority of the questions which they are asking is to make you to know that how you are able to use your knowledge. I'll give you an example. Most often time there is a question which is asked, so Mr. X so and so, which newspaper do you follow? This is a normal question where you can either give a normal answer that, sir, respected sir, I actually follow the Hindu or the Indian Express or any other newspaper which you largely are following in your real life or in day-to-day life. But this answer is not going to create that impression. There has to be a better answer to this, because even a simple question, if it could be answered beautifully, that creates a real impression. Not any difficult answer being answered in a more pragmatic manner. Even a simple answer which can be answered in a pragmatic manner gives the best personality, shows the best personality of yours. Take the same question. If the same question is asked to me, how would I answer this? For example, sir, I largely read the news. I follow the news. I do not follow any particular paper. Because as far as the UPSC is concerned, which is my immediate goal, I largely follow the news from various sources. And this is how I have prepared for my civil services. Why should I give this answer, sir? How it is different? The way you started it, sir, I follow the news. I do not follow the newspaper. I am not following any newspaper as such. I am more following the news. And at the same time, it also highlights one strength of yours. What is that strength? That you are not blindly sticking to any particular source, rather than your sources of understanding the current is highly diversified. That could be Twitter. That could be something else. In present times, I would just add a word. Sir, for example, sources such as Twitter has played a very important role in making me understand the depth of the current aspects. Now, what I have done, I have succeeded in my first part, strategy. How? Now in these circumstances, when I say about Twitter, the second question which the board is going to definitely ask you, because the Elon Musk has actually purchased Twitter, that, okay, then what do you think? Is Twitter deal is going to hamper the right to freedom? I purposefully use the word Twitter there so that this person asks me this question which I am well prepared of. So please ensure this very spontaneous answer writing skill, we are not going to promise that we'll develop it to top notch, because it takes ages to develop that. It needs awareness. But we promise one thing, that this awareness is definitely going to enhance exponentially whenever you join this session. It's a rest assured factor which you are going to see the difference in your preparations as far as interview is concerned. And believe me, majority people just give their mocks without focusing upon how to present themselves. That spontaneous answer giving skills is our major USP, which we believe actually makes your interviews, if not breaks your interviews, because one simple answer answered in a very pragmatic manner takes you through in the entire interview. That impression remains forever, at least till the time when you give the strokes of his marks to your personality test. Coupled with this, the language enhancement. If you have seen my previous videos, in this video I have completely relied on having a conversation, or I have given you content in an English language. There is a purpose why I am actually doing this video, majorly focusing on the English language aspects. Why? Because till now you are writing mains. Till now you are able to understand the content in any other language, could be vernacular or could be English, and can represent in your respective language which you have opted for your civil services. But as far as interview is concerned, those people who are giving with Hindi medium would be able to give their answers in Hindi, but those people who are actually giving their have given their medium as English, they will not get a choice to give answers in Hindi. So please ensure this. Your English speaking communication skills may not be top notch, we may not be super great, and that is what not required, that is what not tested here. But your expression should be such, where your communication should be such, your word selection should be such that it helps you to present your particular opinion in a very comprehensive and in a clear manner. At StudyIQ interview sessions, we are not going to help you to merely just understand the current, explore your personalities, but at the same time, we are also going to emphasize on improving your communication skills. And there are multiple ways in which we are going to enhance this through communication, through constant mentoring, and through various other aspects which we have largely inculcated in this particular exercise or programs of our. Beside this, these are the broad aspects which we are largely going to emphasize on, so that we can largely act as a moderator or at least a heuristic tool to help you achieve your goals there. So please register now. From 20th December onwards, the registration starts. I think the registration has already started, but 20th is the date where at least it will be more pronounced. So do register this. The Google link, as I've already said, is present in the comment box sections. You can directly go there, fill the Google forms and register yourself to get the various updates of this particular personality. You should do it right now, because personality development is a Everest task. It cannot be built in a day. Just like Rome was not built in a day, similarly personality cannot be built in a day. Personality building requires a lot of dedication and a lot of commitment, and we are standing with you in this last leg of your preparations, so that at the end of your preparation you are coming out satisfied. Your marks are those which can take you to your dream positions. So please do understand the importance of interview. Do not try to play with the general understanding that interview merely requires current affairs knowledge. Always accept this. Interview is going to be test of your personality, test of your expression, test of your tastes, taste of your characters, and please make sure you largely come out with flying colors as far as this is concerned. So do not delay. Those people who are giving their interviews, it's the best opportunity to interact with not only the bureaucrats, but with the best minds as far as the civil services is concerned. Thank you so much. Best of luck. Have a nice day.
StudyIQ IAS. अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।